Lick number 89. So we're going through the modes of the F major scale. So this will be the second one. This is the Dorian mode. It turns out to be a G Dorian because G is the second note of the F parent scale. So we're going to start on a G note with the first finger. We're really going to be thinking of this in fourth position. So we're basically set up on the fourth fret, but we're going to stretch down for the G note here. Now we do have a choice on this one to use the 1, 3, 4 for fingering, but because 3 strings in a row after the sixth string will have a stretch, I'm going to stretch that first string too, to be considering us in the fourth position and just stretching down for that third fret. So the scale will be played like, this is what it sounds like. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The Dorian mode, by the way, when we talk in terms of it has a flatted third or a flatted seven, in scales like this, when we're talking about the modes, we're most often thinking of the root of the scale of the mode we're on in relation to as if it was a major scale. So instead of the G being a G major scale, which would be do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, which would sound like that for a G major scale. We're talking in terms of flatting certain notes in relation to as if it was a G major scale, but it's not a G major scale. Really, we're doing an F major scale, and we're just starting on a different note of the F major scale. All of these modes, let me try to be clear on this. I know this is a little bit can be a little bit confusing at first. They all have the same key signature. So all of the modes we're going to be doing for licks 88 through 95 all carry the F major key signature, which has 1 flat, B flat. And we're just simply starting on different notes of the F major scale to do this. I believe in lesson lick 95, I'll probably relate this to a one position F major scale. Actually, I'll do it right now. Try to do this quickly, just as an example for the G Dorian. If we did an F major scale, as in lick 88 lesson, if instead of starting there, if we, on the low F note on the sixth string, if we started on a G note and played the exact same notes as before, just leaving off the first of the notes, again, this is relating to the parent scale now, in the position I showed that in lick 88, we'd have this. So instead of starting on the F and getting this, which is the familiar do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do sound, we start here, so we're starting on re, or the second note of the scale, and we get this sound. And then to go up to the octave of where we started, we go up 1 more note to there. So that has a minor sound, a G minor sound, as opposed to a G major sound, which would be, if we were in G major, we'd have, you'd get that do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. But when we talk about the G Dorian mode, we're actually starting there, but carrying the notes of the F major scale. So instead of this B note on the second fret, we're going to be using the B flat note to match it to the parent scale, the F major scale. So with that little bit of background, I just wanted to go through that so there'd be so you'd have some idea of it if you haven't encountered this before, trying to understand the modes. Hopefully this will become more and more clear as we go through these lessons and as you work on modes more. So what we're doing here, though, is we're playing each mode in its own position rather than staying in the same position in the same form and just starting on a different note of the scale for each of the modes. We're shifting the root of, so the root of the mode will be played with the first finger in each of these cases. So we're going to be going up the string. So the first one, the F Ionian mode we did started here, the first fret. The G Dorian mode, instead of staying in the F scale position with the first finger at the first fret and starting on the second finger, we're shifting up to the third fret, first finger at the third fret. So we're going to play the same exact notes, and it just the positioning or the finger formula will be different, and fretting formula will be quite different. However, something that becomes clearer as you work on this more, and I'm going to try to explain a little bit now, is there, and I touched on this in the F scale, the Ionian mode, is that there's a pattern that repeats over and over again throughout all of these. And the pattern is there's 3 strings in a row that use the stretch and are played the same way. There's then we use a 1-2-4 fingering, so it's 1-2-4 with stretches, then a 1-2-4 without a stretch, and then there's the 1-3-4 that occurs. So there's 3 occurrences of the 1-2-4 with a stretch. You'll see this actually in this G Dorian mode. There'll be 2 occurrences of the 1-2-4 without a stretch, and there'll be 2 occurrences of the 1-3-4 without a stretch. So, and each of them are put together a little bit differently for each of the modes as we work our way up in this method of 3 notes per string. Okay, let me try to get to the scale now and show you how to play this. So the way we're going to play this is like this. So I'm on the 3rd fret with the first finger. I'm trying to arrange this so you can see this. And what we're going to do is, again, we're thinking of in terms of 4th position, but we're going to stretch down with the first finger to the 3rd fret. Now on 3 of the strings, we will have the 1-2-4 with the stretch, and that's the one I keep referring to as the 1-2-4 with a stretch. Now this one is really going to be a 1-2-3 with a stretch of the 1. This is basically as if we're doing the 1-3-4 occurrence, one of the 1-3-4 occurrences you'll see, but we're going to play it with a 1, 2, and a 3. Because I think it'll be easier to play this once you get used to doing this and using it with sequential patterns and things like that. So anyways, we're in the 4th position, and we're stretching down the first finger down to the 3rd fret, and we're on the 6th string. So we're going to play that note. Then we're going to play with the 2nd finger the 5th fret of the 6th string. Then we're going to play the 6th fret with the 3rd finger of the 6th string. Now we're going to play the 1-2-4 with a stretch. Again, I'm thinking of we're in the 4th position, but we're just reaching down for that 3rd fret note. And this will be a true 1-2-4 with a stretch as I refer to it. So, first finger on the 3rd fret of the 5th string, 2nd finger on the 5th fret of the 5th string, and 4th finger on the 7th fret of the 5th string. We're going to do that same pattern, that 1-2-4 with a stretch, again as I refer to it quite often here, 3 times in a row on 3 adjacent strings. So we have on the 5th string, we're going to do that same thing on the 4th string. So fingering 1-2-4 with a stretch between the 1 and the 2, and it's 3rd, 5th, and 7th frets. We're going to do that same thing on the 3rd string. 1-2-4 for fingering with a stretch between the 1 and the 2, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, again all on the 3rd string. So 3 times in a row, starting with the 5th string, we had the finger pattern was the same and fret pattern was the same. We were just on different strings. So again, when I referred to the 3 times in a row of the 1, 2, 4 with the stretch, that's what I mean. So there it is there within the G Dorian mode. Now after the 3 occurrences of the 1, 2, 4 with the stretches, then we're going to have 2 occurrences of 1, 2, 4 with no stretch. Now in this case, again, because of this, it has to do with the 2nd string. Normally we would be moving up 1 fret to do this, but it's a little bit different here because the 2nd string, we're going on to the 2nd string. So instead of going on to the 4th fret now, we have to go, which would actually put us in the same position we've been in, because we've just been in the 4th position with stretches down to the 3rd fret. So we're kind of staying in the 4th position, or we would have stayed in the 4th position if we didn't move to the 2nd string just now, but we did. So because of the way the guitar is tuned, we have to compensate a fret up for the fact that the 2nd string is tuned a half step lower than the other strings in terms of the rest of the strings are tuned from the 5th fret, but when you tune the 2nd string you go to the 4th fret. So anytime we go to a 2nd string in a scale pattern like this, or chord or whatever, we have to think in terms of moving up a fret. A lot of times we just don't think about it, we just learn what it is and we just do it, but that's actually what's happening, is that we're compensating an extra fret for that 2nd string. So just keep that in mind, because I'm going to mention that a lot as I go through a number of these licks. It's something that keeps happening again and again. We run into the 2nd string and we have to compensate up a fret. So for the 2nd string, we're going to be on the 5th fret with the 1st finger. So 1st finger, 5th fret, 2nd string, then 2nd finger, 6th fret, 2nd string, and then 4th finger, 8th fret, 2nd string. So that's 1, 2, 4 without a stretch. Now there's 2 of these in a row that's going to happen through all of these scales, these modes. So when we go up to the 1st string, we're going to have the 2nd occurrence of the 1, 2, 4 on the 5th, 6th, and 8th frets. Coming down the scale, we go 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1. There's the 2 occurrences of that. Now we're going to back down to the 4th position, but we're going to be using the stretch. So we're actually moving down 1 position, and we're going to be stretching now. So we're on the 3rd string with the 4th finger at the 7th fret, and then 5th fret, 3rd string with the 2nd finger, 1st finger on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. That same pattern we're going to do again, the 4, 2, 1 with a stretch on the 7th, 5th, and 3rd strings. 7th, 5th, and 3rd frets of the 4th string we're on now. Then we're going to do that same pattern again with the stretch on the 5th string, from the 7th fret, the 5th fret, to the 3rd fret. Again, we're using the 4th finger, 2nd finger, and 1st finger stretched, the stretches between the 1st and 2nd finger. And then the last thing we're going to do is go down to the 6th string, and we're going to, instead of the 4th finger, we're going to use the 3rd finger on the 6th fret of the 6th string, then the 2nd finger on the 5th fret of the 6th string, and then the 1st finger stretched to the 3rd fret of the 6th string. So 1st finger, 3rd fret we end on the 6th string. So the whole scale is played like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's the Dorian mode, G Dorian. Again, the parent scale is F. So what I'm going to do now is play through the scale with the jam track going on. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Go up twice twice as fast. 2 and the 3E and the 4E and Now, just to give you a few ideas of some patterns you can use with this, or just some certain areas to be in. Well, first of all, your tone centers are your G notes, which is the 3rd fret of the 6th string, the 5th fret of the 4th string, I'm playing that with the 2nd finger, and then we have a G on the 8th fret of the 2nd string. So if I start on that G, for instance, I could do things like this. Just going up 4 notes from the root at the 8th fret of the 2nd string with the 4th finger. I'm going to play like 16th notes on each note of the scale, just to give you that idea. Coming down. Then I go back up. Oftentimes we start and end on the root. We don't have to. Each of the modes has a characteristic sound to it. In this case, the Dorian mode has a flatted 3rd note. And again, in relation to the major scale, which I mentioned earlier. If we were talking about a G major scale, we'd have that note there. We'd have the major 3rd, but the G Dorian mode uses a flatted 3rd. And there's a 4th, a 5th, there's a major 6, which is the same as in a major scale, but instead of the major 7th, which would be in a G major scale, we're going to use a flatted 7th note. So we get this sound. And now I'm going to do just a little bit of improvisation with this. Starting on a root. You don't always have to use the same fingering. So for instance here, I know we have this pattern here. All the 3rd frets, 5th frets, and 7th frets on the 5th string, 4th string, and 3rd string. So I'll make use of that, and I'll do things like this. And then move that 1-3 fingering up to the 5th and 7th frets. So instead of going like this, the stretches, sometimes I'll just use that 1st and 3rd finger. More improvisation. There's a little bit of a sequence there, 4-note sequence descending, going down 4 notes, and then starting on the next lower note, going down 4 notes, and then starting on the next lower note, going down 4 notes, the next lower note. So that's the idea of a sequence, is starting down on a note lower each time. I know I have these 3 notes available, this 7th fret of the 3rd string, 6th fret of the 2nd string, 5th fret of the 1st string. So I did a little bit of an arpeggio, almost a rake kind of thing, where I go across like that, but just a quick arpeggio. If you just, now if I held the notes down, I'd get this, but if I kind of lift my fingers as I go up, you get that. So we can go So again, I'm just trying to give you some ideas of what you can do with that. And sorry, this was a little bit of a long-winded lick lesson, but hopefully there's some ideas in there that you can make use of. So that is it for lick number 89.